Welcome back to Top 4 Repairs. How do you know you have a failing torque converter and it's time to change it? The first thing that you know that the torque converter might be failing is going to be Shudder. If you're driving down the road at about 40 to about 50 miles per hour and you're feeling vibration coming from the transmission area, that could be a sign that the torque converter might be failing. The reason why the torque converter shudder is because when the clutch is being applied, it is not transitioning smoothly from slipping to lockup. The number one reason why the torque converter shudder is because the transmission fluid is probably dirty. If there's metal particles or dirt inside the transmission fluid, the torque converter cannot work properly, and dirty transmission fluid can interfere with the torque converter function. So changing your transmission fluid might actually fix the shudder issue. If that doesn't fix the issue, it's because the friction material on the torque converter clutch is probably worn out. So the only solution is either to replace the torque converter or to rebuild it. The next sign that you know that the torque converter might be failing is when your vehicle is coming to a stop and it stalls. It's because the torque converter clutch did not disengage or it failed to release. The next sign that you know that the torque converter might be failing is going to be noise. If you're hearing a whining noise or whirring noise coming from the torque converter, it's because the needle bearing inside the torque converter is probably worn. One way to tell if the torque converter is causing that noise is when your vehicle is in gear, you're going to hear that whining and whirring noise. And when you shift to neutral and if the noise goes away, then that's how you know the torque converter is causing that issue. The next sign that you know that the torque converter might be failing is going to be overheating. If the torque converter clutch is always locked up, this can cause the transmission fluid to get extremely hot, and it can cause the transmission internal component to fail. Furthermore, if the torque converter is always locked up, it can also cause the engine to overheat as well. The next time that you know that the torque converter might be failing is going to be slipping. When you're accelerating and it feels like your vehicle don't want to go and it feels like the transmission is slipping, the torque converter might be the issue. The next time that you know that the torque converter might be failing is going to be rough shift. If you notice rough shift between gears, that could be a sign that the torque converter might be failing. The next time that you know that the torque converter is failing is the check engine light is going to be on, the transmission light is going to be on, and you're going to get codes for a bad torque converter. The next time that you know that the torque converter is failing is when you see the engine RPM jump out of nowhere. That's because the torque converter clutch failed to engage. And lastly, when the torque converter is failing, you're also going to get poor gas mileage. I hope you found this lesson informative. As always, thank you for watching and subscribe to Top 5 Auto Repairs.